What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, and today I'm bringing you another Twitter thread discussion on the worst Pokemon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, at least in terms of a competitive sense. Now, they may not be the actual worst Pokemon because there are really only very few answers, but these Pokemon have redeeming qualities that are so few and far between, and they are really lacking something specific. So if you guys want to be a part of the next Twitter thread discussion, have your comment featured in this video or the next video, then make sure to follow me on Twitter. The link is down in the description down below, and I'll also make sure to pin it in the comments as well. And of course, guys, leave a like on the video if you do enjoy this type of content. Subscribe to the channel as well. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers, just as the name up here suggests, and hopefully we can get there maybe by the end of the year. Might take a little bit longer than that, but hopefully next year, by end of next year, 5K is definitely a possibility. Let's go ahead and jump on into it. So for me, I'll start. Ravska. This Pokemon here is basically the what they could have fixed the injustice that was Orbeetle. Instead, they gave it a really shit typing. Bug and Psychic is a bad typing. I get it, no problem. However, while it does have 115 special attack, I have all the stats on the screen to my left here, 100 defense, special defense, which is really solid. The best thing about this thing is that I get access to Revival Blessing, which is obviously a broken move. We all know this. It has really decent coverage, has access to Trick Room. I get it, no problem. The issue I have is just that it's so slow that you can never reliably get off the Revival Blessing. Because its special attack, its special defense, its defense and its HP are all not at the level they need to be able to take hits consistently, especially with the shit type it has. It is a terrible type. Because of that, it's just gonna drop to basically any hit. It's gonna drop to a fire attack, a flying attack, a ghost, a dark, a rock, a whatever, okay? And I don't want that for this Pokemon that could really take advantage of Revival Blessing. Honestly, in Draft League, if you were to make this Pokemon 13 points, give a Revival Blessing, I don't think it would see play. I really don't. I think it would hurt a team if you gave Revival Blessing and you made it more expensive. Definitely agree with that, and that's why I have it over here on this list, for me at least. Next up, though, we're going to start off with Avery. So Avery starts off with Skovelin. Now, Skovelin is fine, okay? I think Skovelin has obviously a lot of issues. The main issue that it has is its coverage. I believe I'm going to pull up over here. Skovelin has, first of all, Chlorophyll is the main reason that this Pokemon is even viable. Having access to the sun boosting attacks with the Fire Stab, plus access to Chlorophyll is really valuable. The coverage it has is lackluster. It has access to your fire moves, has access to your grass moves, and then what? Stomping Tantrum, okay? Terra Blast, then Headbutt, Crunch. That's really it. It's missing other moves. And I kind of wish I had access to like some other attacking moves that would make it a bit better. Give it like Low Kick. That would make it so much better. Okay, give it access to, I don't know, something to help deal with what it would be. Maybe a good ground type. I'm saying good ground type, but grass covers that pretty effectively. Honestly, the offensive coverage is really good. The main thing is, in terms of these stabs, the main thing is Crunch, Stomping Tantrum is not enough, in my opinion, to do what you want to. I want to have more than just that. I would love for it to have access to a fighting move to be able to do a lot more work that way. A poison move would be great as well, but no, it doesn't have that. It's basically stuck with just the same old stab moves, and that's why I think it's going to be stuck over here. It does have a few different abilities. Moody is banned, I believe, in Smogon overall, but Chlorophyll as an ability is still pretty solid. Next up, we're going to say Spidops from Joe. Okay, I knew this Pokemon was going to be appearing here, okay? So he says that he likes the design of the concept, the secret agent and a spider. Yeah, makes a lot of sense, but Insomnia as the regular ability is terrible, and Stakeout is all right, but needs a switch to activate, and with 60 base HP, its defenses hardly will allow that power to even be used. He's right. He's right. Honestly, the power that this Pokemon has is so lackluster. It's missing so much. You know what it has? The best thing it has is webs. That's all. It has access to Sticky Web, and that's not enough. I wish it was, but it is not. So having access to just webs, in Draft League at least, is a really good redeeming quality because you're able to get up the webs for a really inexpensive price. But as a Pokemon itself, my god, it's just terrible. It does nothing for you. Next up, we're going to see it's going to be Bunnisora, or Bunnisora. I should pronounce that correctly. IMO, Bramblegast, and Wugtrio doesn't really add anything to most teams, even if there are some solid traits. So the biggest advantage for Wugtrio is that it's a fast Pokemon. I believe it's 120 in its stat distribution for speed. Yeah, 120 in its stats. The issue is, just like for Dugtrio, it has no opportunity to set up, none, okay, and it doesn't trap you in, and its typing is arguably worse offensively. That's not good. Same stats, worse typing offensively, honestly not great coverage overall. Like, the majority of its moves are special. It has access to Earth Power, for crying out loud, on base 50 special attack. What are you doing with that? Okay, sure, it has access to moves like Aqua Jet, which is nice, but you're 120 base attack, 120 base speed, excuse me. You have access to Sucker Punch, sure, why not? But then it's just like Liquidation, You have special moves in Ice Beam and Blizzard, not even access to like a physical, not even Ice Spinner. That's insane, okay? And its ability is nowhere near as good as Arena Trap is. Gooey, Rattle, and Sand Veil are all kind of booty cheeks compared to Arena Trap, of course. And then they mentioned Bramblegast. So Bramblegast, the reason why Bramblegast has a lot of viability, in my opinion, is because it has access to Strength Sap, which is really good. One of the only Pokemon in this generation that got Strength Sap, and it also has access to Rabbit Spin. There are so few Pokemon that get Rabbit Spin this generation, which is a really good thing. It also has not bad of a defensive typing. It gets enough work done to the point where you can actually make it work effectively. So I do think that overall, it makes some sense to have Bramblegast on a team for you. Next up, Tone, Biomile, Wugtrio. Same stats as Dugtrio. Yeah, no way to boost its offensive. Signature move isn't worth it. Terrible abilities on Frailmon and a non-existent move pool. It's worse than Spidops. What? Yeah, honestly, I can see why. Because Wugtrio doesn't allow you to have anything new is the issue. Web support on Spidops at least has some utility because there are so few web setters. The best one this generation is Masquerain. That's it. So I feel like they should have, honestly, allow Pokemon like Vikavolt in and then get rid of webs if that's what you're going to do. Fine. At least you have a good Pokemon that used to be able to set up webs. Now you just have shit Pokemon that are trying to set up webs and they are forced to being used. It's not a good recipe for success. Next up, we have Mastodon with the meme here, Fluttermane. Fluttermane, yeah, I swear, I would never bait. And Liv agreeing with Mastodon. Fluttermane's so garbage Pokemon didn't allow this format, so nobody would complain that they made such an awful Pokemon. Facts. Gonna give this a quick little heart over here. Yeah, what else was there in this discussion? Now we're cooking with some bloody gas. So, yeah, the fact that Fluttermane has been banned or currently not allowed in VGC. Yeah, because of that, I blame that this Pokemon is so terrible. It's exactly what it is. It's just a shit Pokemon overall. Next up, Badass Frostlass. Hey, Ravska gets Trick Room with 45 speed and 115 special attack. That's not bad. You know what? Fine. That's what you want to say. Sure. I just think they messed out by not giving it more than that. It should have had more. It's just so... The typing sucks. It does not do Orbeetle justice, and that's the problem. I think if they made a better Orbeetle, then I would have been fine with this Pokemon. The issue is they basically made it a worse Orbeetle, and that's why I don't like about it and why I think it's going to be low on the list for me. Next up, he's mentioning that Bramblegast is my favorite new mon, and it sucks, but if it got Will-O-Wisp and good physical ghost moves, it would actually be usable. So the issue with Bramblegast is, again, that the coverage option is not the best in terms of the ghost type stabs. There's like Phantom Force, and that's the issue. Okay, it has Shadow Sneak, which is great and everything, but there's no Poltergeist in this generation right now. So if Poltergeist comes eventually, I think Bramblegast will have a pretty big buff. Its abilities are kind of shit as well. Infiltrator is fine, I guess, but honestly, Wind Rider is pretty bad too. Giving the immunity to wind attacks, sure, fine. You're immune to Blizzard and Fairy Wind or whatever, but that's really not that impactful. The main thing is going to be Sub, Seed, Strength Sap. That's what this Pokemon does with Rapid Spin, and it kind of sucks that that's the best thing it does, because that's not even the best moveset you can run on a lot of different Pokemon. Next here we got Sully mentioning that they agree and that stats are really rough. The stats are really rough, but they then mentioned that Squawkabilly didn't even get a chance to do anything really. And yeah, honestly, Squawkabilly is one of the few mons I haven't really had a chance to look at. It has access to what, 4 different forms, so that's just Squawkabilly. They all have, yeah, so 2 of them have all the same 3 abilities. Intimidate, Hustle, they all have that one, and then 2 of them have Guts and 2 of them have Sheer Force. I think the ones with Guts are going to see a lot more play, obviously, but the fact that this Pokemon doesn't have a stat higher than 96 is unfortunate. Its defenses are 51 and 51 and 82 HP with 92 speed. That is nothing. Intimidate is cool, don't get me wrong, no problem at all, but overall, this Pokemon just seems to lack a lot. Has access to U-Turn. It doesn't get access to Defog, I believe. Yeah, no Defog, which does hurt, because if it got access to Defog, it would see a lot more play. But not even having that really, really hurts, I think. Moving on, though, we're going to see Zeke with Veluza is so lackluster in the stats department. It gets a lot of cool coverage and a neat new setup move, but deleting half your HP with that type of bulk, you're going to get... Wow, I cannot read right now. But deleting half your HP with that type of bulk, you're going to get got by priority or something faster, because 262, even at +2, isn't getting past relevant Scarfers. And 102 attack isn't much better at +2. It's not nothing, but it's not exactly OHKOing much either, which at half HP and terrible defenses, you need to be doing. Correct, okay? Veluza, I believe, has Sharpen as its ability, right? Is that the one? It has Sharpness, that's the one. Sharpness as the ability, which is great and everything, but the move that is like, what is it called? Shell Smash, but worse? What was that called? Was it Fins Up, some of that final? Fill it away. There we go, fill it away. This move here, it's great, but Zeke is right. The stat distribution on this Pokemon should be better, and I get why it can't really be, because if you were if it was better, then it would be a lot of problems. But sharpness basically means a choice band boost, meaning that if you get the fill it away off, you're able to get to basically what's +3 on all your attacks, like your aqua cutter and stuff like that, which is really strong. I do think that overall it is missing a little something, but I would not classify in the same tier as like Spidops, Squawkability, or Ravska. So that just, to me, I would kind of keep them a bit separate there. Oink Alone literally does nothing. Yeah, let's just pull up Oink Alone quickly. So Oink Alone, depending on which one you are, you either have Lingering Aroma, which is basically just Mummy, or Aroma Veil, shit ability, Gluttony, fine, and Thick Fat. Thick Fat's a good ability. It has a decent bulk overall, depending on if you're the male or female set, but most of the time you're running the same thing over and over and over. That's just going to be a bunch of coverage moves, maybe an assault vest. It doesn't really do much for a team. I think that overall it is missing a lot. Okay, partly in the stats department because the stats are just like underwhelming. Its typing a pure normal is kind of shitty to have just in draft league right now. In competitive Pokemon overall, there's better options. Yeah, Ghost is very strong, but you might as well just like run a good dark type, run a better normal type. That's the issue I'm facing with Oink Alone. It could just be better overall, but it's a starting Pokemon. It's like a Linoon, for example. Linoon, when it first came out, Linoon wasn't being run, okay? Unless it was specifically for Belly Drum, all right? That's that only tech. But you know, Oink Alone might be able to get something really good going on down the line too, so who knows? Next up, we're going to see Roy Mustang with the Wugtrio, more like Wugtrio, the worst of all time. Yeah, this Pokemon, this is the third one here. It really lost a lot. I think if it kept Arena Trap, that would have been really nice for it. And maybe, honestly, if they gave an Arena Trap Pokemon that just was below average as a Pokemon itself, then I think that would make it plausible that it would be in competitive play and maybe allow Arena Trap, but definitely not in this case here. Alpha Mingo, laughs in Spidops. Yep, laughs in Spidops makes a lot of sense. Adrian, Magnet Man. So Magnet Man BGC says Cloth or Brute Bonnet. So Cloth, like the ability it has that's basically just like a Shell Smash when you're at under half HP is really nice. The issue with it is you're not really going to get there very often. People will try to do everything they can to make sure so you can't proc that ability. What's that ability? Is it Anger Shell? Yeah, Anger Shell. It does have regen, which is cool and everything on a pretty bulky physically defensive Pokemon, but as a pure rock type, I'd rather have Garganacl 100 times out of 100. Really. It does have some things going for it because of that power. In doubles, it is god awful though. It's really bad. If it had access to Intimidate as its other ability instead of Shell Armor, I think it would see a lot of play though, but in this case here, definitely not. As for Brute Bonnet, I think, can we say this without a doubt, is it the worst of all the Paradox Pokemon? I mean, Iron Jugulis gives it a run for its money, but I mean, no, you know what? The Screamtail is pretty bad too. It's between Screamtail, Brute Bonnet, and Iron Jugulis. All three of those Pokemon are just pretty damn bad. Brute Bonnet having really lackluster speed, a typing that's pretty bad. They could, like, the best part about a Pokemon like Amoonguss was that it had a regen. You took away regen. Why? All right, you took away access to some of the best things it could possibly do. It's typing. I think while Grass and Dark is a fine typing overall, I think that the fact that you had access to a poison typing as your secondary typing for Amoonguss, that actually made the Pokemon better. So yeah, I really don't like that, but hey, it is what it is. Razor coming up next with a nice little Twitter thread here, going with a lot of new Pokemon, either stat-wise or move pool-wise, disappointing me compared to other gens. Feels like there's way less moveset versatility in them. Obviously, Spidops and Wugtrio are the worst, but they've been said. So I'll say how disappointed I am in Skovelin. Another one we said, the first grass fire we get, and it basically has to be run in Sun. Facts. Or it's garbage. Very disappointing stats and has 108 attack with only 65 base power for fire physical stab and 80 for grass stab. That's pathetic. You know, he's right, okay? And this Pokemon had access to Power Whip or something, that'd be a lot better. If it had access to Flare Blitz or something, that'd be amazing. But no, doesn't have access to that. I think it should. And why can't it touch dragons? I really thought it would get Dragon Pulse or Outrage. I think Outrage makes a lot of sense in this Pokemon. The fact that it doesn't get Dragon Pulse, I'm a little bit fine with, but it definitely should have gotten Outrage, 100%. There's a lot of really weird Pokemon that get access to Outrage, but not Skovelin. Crazy. Its special coverage is just a stab moves, very boring. Why couldn't it get like Earth Power? I will say in Sun though, it can be a proper menace. I just wanted more though, and fix those goddamn stat spread. Yeah, look, that's the main thing. This generation, I've done 30 plus moveset guides now, or 30 set guides of different Pokemon, and I feel like there's a lot to offer for a lot of Pokemon. The issue is at the lower end, these Pokemon, they're just lackluster and they're missing something to put them over the top, make them really good competitively. And that sucks, okay? Obviously in other generations, not everything's going to be super viable. I get it, it's no problem. But it just feels like there's not enough there, and that does really hurt. So hopefully fingers crossed we can get some sort of move tutors that will buff up a lot of these Pokemon in the new DLCs that are going to be coming through soon. And then we do have Emburst with Oink Alone. What a shitmon. Yeah, we covered it already. It really does struggle a lot in today's metagame. There's just not enough that are going on with it. I wish it could do a little bit better, but hey, what are you gonna do? Overall, I feel like we've kind of covered the main Pokemon here. We've covered Pokemon like Oink Alone. We covered Pokemon like Skovelin. We covered Pokemon like oh my god, Wugtrio, Spidops, Squawkabilly. Okay, we talked about Bonnet and Cloth. We spoke about Veluza briefly. Like there's Bramblegast saw a few times. Fluttermane somehow saw a few. But like honestly, these are the worst Pokemon. They should have been a better job done to make sure that these Pokemon weren't just so terrible in the formats that we play. But hey, it is what it is. If you guys enjoyed this video, then do me a favor and leave a like on the video. Make sure to comment your thoughts on which Pokemon are the worst in Gen 9 in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet in terms of competitive play. We'll have to read your reasoning as to why. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as well and leave a like, of course, aiming for a like goal of 75 likes. And of course, guys, make sure to follow me on Twitter as well. And that way you can be part of the next poll that we do, which should be going up ideally next Monday. And hopefully we're gonna be doing the best Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet. So guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys all tomorrow.